When you get one of those top 3 to 4 players, certainly it can change your franchise, and it's somebody that you want to continue to build around. It's exciting. It's exciting for our fans and our team.
On September 30th, Indiana Fever made a shocking announcement, and Caitlin Clark needed it to happen badly. This is not a random choice. Re-entering the spotlight, she is Kelly Kraskoff. If you are familiar with the Fever's past, you will know that she was essentially the team's lifeblood in 2012. Under her direction, Fever peaked, but the hateful people did what they do best. They kicked her out in 2018. But now, since Clark couldn't have carried a team on her own, she's back. Honestly, though, no squad can last if one player is playing at a high level and everyone else is moving slowly. What makes Kelly Kraskoff the ideal candidate for the Fever president position, and why was Christie Sides shown the door so quickly, are the key questions at this point. Here are the specifics then. Let's face it, this is more than simply a formal farewell performance for Kelly. The timing couldn't be more ideal, and she has a task to accomplish. Trust me, she isn't here to screw around. Extremely eager to get started. This new phase of my life, as well as my professional journey, since, let's be honest, the Fever have been, to put it mildly, disoriented for the previous several seasons, and then all of a sudden they have Caitlin Clark, a superstar who is essentially leading the entire franchise. If we're being honest, Clark is the only reason anyone can still recall the existence of the Fever. The girls are attracting more people to the games than the entire league combined because they are talented, stylish, and self-sufficient. But do you need evidence? Over 17,000 supporters attend Fever home games on average this season, even though the outcome wasn't what we had hoped for. Finally, there was a great deal of hope. Many people were really enthusiastic. Not only is that impressive, considering where they were a year ago, it's astounding. From having empty seats, they are now the league's most watched team. While I'm not advocating that the rest of the league take notice, perhaps they ought to. They had 3,000, 4,000 people, but today they have 17,000 and 1,000 standing room. Only tickets were sold. People were watching from the third balcony, which is where we entered the arena, as they peered down at the tops of our players' heads. However, enormous pressure accompanies huge star power. Furthermore, this is not a superhero tale. That's the reality of trying to center a successful team around a single exceptional player. Though, come on, the Fever's front office hasn't exactly been recognized for making wise choices lately. Kraskoff knows what she's doing. With Clark on board, they can't afford to screw this up, or the fans may decide to visit the office and demand explanations. Yesterday, I watched the news about Kraskoff Kelly. She's leaving us to go run the Fever once more. Extremely delighted for her. We will dearly miss Kelly, who played a significant role in our front office operations and in building and managing our team. In case that wasn't sufficient, there's also the... Simply put, Clark deserves better and is on the wrong team. Nevertheless, he does have a point. However, no one is printing. Diana Taurasi was correct. This child is on the incorrect team. She lacks the necessary skill set to deal with that league's toughness. She's also inexperienced. Literally, Clark has been taking hits left and right. This season alone, 6 technical fouls, 6. And where's the defense from the coaching staff and front office? Crickets. It seems as though they are too preoccupied with finding a way to stem the flow to truly, safeguard their star player. This, is a fresh start. A fresh start has been made. Furthermore, I believe it is fantastic for our franchise, great for our fans, that is. We look forward to having someone join us and support us as we go forward and maintain our strong reputation in the WNBA. This is the point at which Kraskoff has to rise to the occasion. It goes beyond simply shoving butts into seats. It's about ensuring that the appropriate adjustments are made. Clark isn't here to take advantage of others. Her goal is to triumph. Extremely happy. I'm eager to begin this new chapter in both my personal and professional lives. If Kraskoff fails to bridge the gap between the front office and on-court performance, the excitement around her comeback will evaporate even more quickly than the Fever's chances of making the playoffs. Because of the defensive nightmare that Christie Sides has created with the Indiana Fever. We're talking about a team, after all. That makes it nearly easy for opponents to waltz in and score whenever they want. Last season, the defense was ranked 2nd in the league. 2nd worst situation. Christie Sides, you are the worst possible head coach ever. It's unbelievable that you work at all. They seem to have forgotten how important it is to prevent the opposition from scoring. True component of the game. And who has been steering the sinking ship, you ask? Yes, Christie Sides, the self-proclaimed head coach whose approach to defense has been as successful as a damp paper towel. However, in the end, it's not really about the... Definitely officiating tonight. We really need to improve our defense. Caitlin Clark is under intense pressure to play hero ball every single night because Decides' fixation with hosting an offense only show it seems as though her entire strategy is that Clark will figure it out. Yes, Clark can easily score 30 points, but what's the catch? That does not imply that you should disregard the other viewpoint. Watching Sides shuffle her rotations like she's pulling names out of a hat in the hopes that one of them will somehow find out how to defend is almost embarrassing. However, as it turns out, repeatedly depending on the same stale strategies is ineffective. You're not sure how to utilize your abilities. It makes sense why Clark is tired half the time. They are running her into the ground, as Sides is clueless about how to oversee her rotations. Can we also discuss the alleged game plan? Yes, if that's even the right word to use. It appears that Sides' coaching philosophies are to score more points and then pray harder if the opposition scores more. It is pitiful. A blazing neon sign with the second poorest defense rating in the league. Sides is standing there with her clipboard in hand, seemingly content to watch the craziness happen with the rest of us. She's not giving advice, she is an observer who also happens to be employed. Reintroducing Kraskoff is the best decision in a long time because of this. At last, as somebody with a broad perspective. Kraskoff is aware that running your best players to the limit and praying for a miracle is not how championship teams are constructed. A balanced approach that prioritizes defense and avoids sending Caitlin Clark to the Wolves each game is required. If Sides is unable of managing the situation, and let's face it, she hasn't demonstrated that she can, Kraskoff must get rid of everything and get a coach who genuinely knows what it takes to succeed. Furthermore, what do you know? There's no time to waste for Kraskoff. There are rumors that she has her sights set on defensive standouts like Gabby Williams of the Seattle Storm. That's the determination and fortitude that the Fever sorely lacks. Therefore, you should reconsider your expectations if you believe that Sides' current group of players would suddenly transform into defensive masterminds. Instead of having Clark carry the entire load while a group of disoriented players run around aimlessly, this squad needs true defenders. The things that Caitlin and Tiger did were comparable in that they brought fresh admirers of the game. Yes, Michael Jordan then gained momentum and started to inspire all the young people. Caitlin is capable of that. Though she's gained new admirers, she's much more than that. And there's the mess Sides has contributed to creating on the roster. With an average of 19.2 points per game, Kelsey Mitchell's on the verge of becoming a free agent. The Fever can't afford to lose her, but why would Mitchell stay if they continue to use Sides' ineffective tactics? Being on a team where defense is neglected is something that no one wants to be a part of. Meanwhile, Erica Wheeler, the best paid player on the team, is essentially paid over $400,000 a year to warm the bench, while Nelisa Smith's role has been diminishing more quickly than Sides' credibility. Hey, I'm not whining though. She's presumably the one who can clean up the mess caused by the recent sickness. She is credited with making this club a force to be reckoned with in the early 2000s and, oh yeah, winning them a little something called the 2012 WNBA championship back when they were still in the picture. Still, fans are raving about it. They recall the heyday when Kraskoff assembled a team that truly made people tremble with the selection of Tamika Catchings in the first round. Everyone is understandably hopeful that she has a couple more tricks up her sleeve. But can we now replicate that success? That's a big request. It was all about spotting diamonds in the rough back then. Making sure they don't ruin what they already have is the main concern right now. Clark is a celebrity, so if they play their cards well, they might potentially have a chance to become relevant once more. It's quite difficult to process, following a few away. Caitlin asked the WNBA whether they would give spot bonuses to players on the away team after all of the sellouts in games. We're generating so much more money, she stated, and I want the away team to share in that as well. Were they to receive a spot bonus, that then is Caitlin Clark's core. That individual is so amazing and classy. But, well, how about we discuss those difficulties? These days, the Fever hasn't exactly been killing it. They were the side that everyone was expecting to win easily before Clark appeared. And what do you know, restoring Kraskoff alone won't make a difference right away. She has to contend with a roster that has been, to put it mildly, lackluster. It's not enough to just aim for improvement. The goal is to quickly return the Fever to championship form, because the talk of rebuilding seasons has grown old to the supporters. They're looking for outcomes. Yesterday, it's not just about scoring points for Clark. She's got it all: playmaking, skills, assists, and the capacity to improve her teammates. She has everything, you name it. She would shoot more and pass less. She is a phenomenal passer, an excellent marksman. However, what she was fostering was a sense of team spirit through ball passing, occasionally at the expense of our personal scoring. We've now found out that beat. Thus, unless the Fever desires to remain a 1, women need to start considering the big picture and, perhaps attempt landing an idea. Who can blame the Fever's front office staff for their current state of intense perspiration? They will be scrutinized, deconstructed, and attacked for every action they take. The same old excuses are getting old to fans. Their goal is to have their star player the center of a championship caliber club. They now have hope again thanks to Clark, and they won't stand by while the franchise blows this chance.